Hello friends, family, esteemed colleagues. Here we are back on salt and distilled water and blood and health. So I received a video from a friend about a microbe hunter, and he posts videos of his discoveries. And there's nothing wrong with it, except it comes to the same mode I often mention, that partial knowledge can be more destructive than not knowing at all. And this video that he made about influence of salt and influence of distilled water on blood is one of such cases. Why? Because what he does, he pokes a finger, draws some blood, puts it on the glass, adds a little bit of salt, and pops it under the microscope. And then sees that what is happening, that cells start clumping up. And we know when cells clump up, often leads to causing a thrombosis, coagulums. And then he takes the distilled water, drops distilled water, and there is a reversal of this process. Now, of course, the message from this, the conclusion is that salt bad, distilled water great. Automatically, you drink or eat salt, you're gonna die. You drink distilled water, you're gonna flourish. Well, this is not really so. This experiment is basically same thing if you want to prove that gasoline is actually dangerous for a car. So you take a gasoline and you sprinkle it over the car, and then you take a spark plug, take a contact with distributor cap, put it on a chassis of the car, and start the engine, makes a spark going, and what happens? Boom! And car goes in flame and destroys the car. Gasoline bad. Well, gasoline is not supposed to be outside of the car. Gasoline is supposed to be in a gas tank and being drawn to the injectors or carburetor, whatever you have there, where everything is being controlled. And this is making car running. You take blood out of the body, it is going to have a different reaction than when blood is inside of the body. Now, why is this so? In car we know, because it's controlled combustion. The explosion happens only inside of the cylinder and makes the car go. Makes the cylinder go, rotation goes, and you make the car go. Well, in the body, we know that blood contains approximately 9 grams of salt per liter of blood. Now, it is not all sodium chloride. And again, it's not sodium, it's sodium chloride. It has completely different properties than sodium. Or if we speak European language, natrium chloride. So it's natrium chloride, it's not natrium. Because natrium in water becomes very active and oxidizes rapidly. It is explosive stuff. But natrium chloride has completely different reactions, has different properties. Now, the microbe hunter he observes what is happening in the blood. Why is this happening in the blood? Because we know that salt is very absorptive, and it is going to absorb, making the liquid thicker. On the other side, it creates ionic disbalance, and instead making the water perfectly electroconductive, it impedes on electroconduction, on electroconductivity. It is same like in a bad car battery, you have a mixture of acid and distilled water. Now, if you run low on this liquid and you don't have distilled water and you just put acid, it's not going to work. The battery will charge explosively fast, and as soon as you take it out of leads, you're going to lose all the electricity, because it has to be properly proportioned to the water, so it has proper acidity, cannot be overly acidic to do its job. Same is in the blood. Body cannot function unless it has 9 grams of salt per liter of blood. So the cleansing organs, or how does body lose plasma? Body loses plasma through blood cleansing organs, because blood has to be cleansed. Cells, through their activity, are producing toxic material, which then has to go into the blood, and from the blood it has to be eliminated. And it is eliminated through, well, in the lungs, some of the toxin, one of them is carbon dioxide, is being exhaled. Again, when you're exhaling, you are losing vapor, you are losing water. And this is why when you're exhaling through the mouth, you are losing way more water, because in the nose, in the mucosal tissue, through salt, which is there, you are trapping back the moisture and retaining it. So when you are exhaling through the nose, you are losing way less humidity than if you are exhaling through your mouth. And this is why, if you are already dehydrated and lung cells are dehydrated, and you start breathing through mouth and losing a lot of vapor, a lot of water through a breathing process, the body starts preserving this water by inflaming alveoli, which constricts them. It constricts the airflow. So you cannot exhale so quickly, but you also cannot inhale quickly. You start wheezing, and we call it asthma attack. Okay? This is how body is programmed to preserve life, to deal with extreme situations. Now, when you are taking out other toxins through your kidneys, we have kidneys, mucosal tissue, and you have a skin that is being used to take the toxic elements or surplus, not necessarily toxic, but surplus out of the body. But for this, it needs liquid, and the only liquid you have in the body is electroconductive liquid we call plasma. It's a base of your blood. It's base for your lymph. Base for the cellular liquids is this plasma. Water in electroconductive state through ionization with salt. And the level of salt, the salinity, has to be precisely controlled, same as alkalinity. You have a small margin, up and down. If you cross the margin, it becomes very problematic for the body. You can die. This is true. And yes, salt can kill you. Chinese, this is the most common method of suicide in China, to just stuff the mouth with pure salt. Because there is no time and no way for body to control the amount of salt that penetrates. Now, if you take salt with the water, it's completely different story, because now the body can easier do the job. And even so, for example, if you want to put it directly into your vein, like through transfusion, with saline solution, this is very common. Saline solution saves lives. But the drip has to be slow. You cannot just, oh, he needs blood, let's shove half a liter of saline solution. Again, you're gonna croak. You have to give time for the blood cleansing organs to adjust the salinity. So this way, the drip is slow. Of course, now when you are drinking, you can drink big amount of salty water. But what happens? You start absorbing. It doesn't go directly into your vein or into your artery. It goes in intestines, and then it has to go through intestinal wall, through cells, to be able to go then into the blood. And whatever body absorbs, it goes through lymphatic system first, being it through the skin or being it through mucosal tissue. It is going to go through lymphatic system. And in lymphatic system, right away, calibration is occurring. And immediately salt, surplus of the salt is being pushed away, and only appropriate amount of salt with the water solution, saline solution, is going to be carried, but again it's going to go into the kidney and into the liver. It is going to go to be properly adjusted. So if you take a very salty water, like seawater, 35 grams or 30 grams of salt per liter, and you drink it, not all the salt is going to be absorbed. The water, a lot of the water will be absorbed with some salt. Some salt will be right away rejected. Some will pass through and still go through further checking through kidneys, where the surplus is being eliminated, and only the appropriate amount of salt is going to be entering the blood. And the salty water that was not absorbed then is being rejected and ejected. This is what gives you diarrhea. The surplus of the salt with water that was not absorbed gives you the cleansing effect. You expel it through diarrhea. Okay, so it's not like you are now taking salt and shove it in the blood. This is not happening. So the experiment like this is a childish experiment. Yes, proves that salt is not really good to put in the water, but we know in the blood. But we know this. You want to create a prosciutto or ham from a pig's leg. Well, you first have to rub salt in it, and then put some rock on it. As salt is drawing out the liquid, it is going to be then by a pressure of the stone, it is going to be pushing the liquid out. Salty liquid is coming out, and you are dehydrating a dead leg. But it's a dead leg. It's not a living organism anymore. Okay, the cells still, some cells may be alive, but it is not anymore living organism. It does not function as a perfect unit. It's a part of the mechanism which cannot defend itself. But the body, as such, it is created to deal with these problems, or with these situations. They are not problems, they are situations. This is why when we jump in the water and we are swimming in the water, we don't die, but we absorb a lot of it. And you have to urinate. Why? Because you are eliminating the surplus of the salt that came in. And your urine is extremely salt. Try it, taste it. Go in the seawater, and after being there, let's say 15-20 minutes, come out, and when you have to urinate, taste your urine. Extremely salty, saltier than the water, than the seawater. Because all the surplus is being rejected with little water, but it does not want to waste plasma. Plasma is very important. The blood is very important for the body. Why would the body urinate and waste plasma? Because it has to eliminate something. This is why it's urinating. This is why it has to release some of its own plasma so it can survive, so it maintains the body clean, the blood clean. It's very simple. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to understand this. This is very simple. And kidney cannot hold and separate the whole salt. It cannot eliminate just the distilled water just to keep all the minerals in. Part of the cleansing of the surplus, which will be also surplus of minerals, but it's also toxins. And this is what creates urine. It's uric acid, it's urea, it's sometimes proteins, sometimes sugar. It's excessive elements from the salt. Again, salt in the blood, the necessary ionic action is not only created from sodium chloride. Actually, it is proven that people that take sea salt or drink sea plasma, the level of sodium in their blood is lower than people that don't do it, and the only salt that they take is basically table salt, because this is what you find in a products, packaged products that they consume, including the bread, including pasta, any prepared dish, any cake that you buy. Salt that they use is a table salt. Table salt is purposely made toxic, and it's basically sodium chloride with shavings, with aluminum oxide, titanium oxide, because those are white powders, under pretense, oh, this is anti-caking substance, so it flows through a salt shaker. It's highly toxic stuff. This is what is problematic. It's not the salt. But since sea salt and seawater, they have approximately 90 different minerals, various salts of magnesium, various salts of natrium, or sodium, potassium, 90 different salts. So of course what happens is that overall salinity is going to be kept proper, about 9 grams, but level of sodium chloride is going to drop because there are other salts which are there. And doctors that investigate, they know it. They know that when you take a sea salt instead of table salt, that sodium level in the blood drops. This is not something out of the world. This is common knowledge if you investigate this stuff. So experiments like this that are being published to people, this guy has, I don't know, 100 and something thousand followers. Well, what do you think these followers are learning? They are being brainwashed by children like this, spreading misinformation because they do not really understand anything. They have, oh, you see this happens? So bad. You see what happens? Distilled water good. Go, if you don't believe this, go, dress well, start jogging so you can sweat. So you overheat, so body has to cool you down, so it will sweat more. And as you are thirsty, just drink distilled water. What will happen that you are going to have to drink all the time, because more you sweat, more salt is coming out. Sweat is salty, it's coming from your plasma. So the plasma is coming out of your body, it's salty water, and now you are replenishing this with distilled water, 0 minerals. And body cannot hold this because it is breaking down the electroconductivity. So it rapidly starts releasing this extensive amount of water. So pushes out water, trying to keep on salts, but you still will have salty sweat because it cannot hold on these salts. And if you continue doing this, if you drink some 10 liters of distilled water or even less and jogging, you can collapse and you can die because the electricity stops flowing because you break the electroconductivity. Happened to some people that they collapsed during running because they were drinking distilled water during the race. Big amounts of it. So why do runners on long distance, marathon runners, when they run and they are given the water and they are drinking and they are sweating and running, when they come finally to the finish line, they can barely walk, they are collapsing because they are severely dehydrated. On the other side, if these same runners would have a salty water drinking while they are running, none of this would happen. They would come to the finish line and they can continue running. No problem, no cramps, no nothing. Because there is proper electroconductivity, energy, electricity flows flawlessly. Those are all experiments you can do. Not this stupid experiment taking blood out of its environment and then drenching it in salt and seeing what happens. And then washing it, rinsing it with distilled water, see what happens. You are getting the wrong information. Then you are spreading the wrong information through other minds which are confused. They get this and, salt, bad, distilled water, good, all right, now I'm... And this is how you destroy health and lives of other people. We have to be careful whom we are following and what we are learning. Because we are trained to learn by observing others and by memorizing what others are telling. And all these partial truths and partial informations are leading to wrong conclusions. You misunderstand what is happening. And you will harm yourself if you follow then this trend of thought. This is science at the optimal. It's not a science, it's science. It's partial misinformation. It's not really science. We have to be careful what we do. So, all these tests, everybody who promotes no salt or drinking distilled water, they don't know what they're talking about. It's simple as that. And, we have to get more knowledge. And this is why I take so much time and make so many videos, because I'm trying to awaken you to truth, to truthful information. what really is happening, because we are being misguided through science and through schmucks like this who make experiments like this and base their opinions on partial knowledge. It's problematic and it's dangerous. So, thank you for listening, and open your mind, and don't trust me. Just, I gave you a few hints to make experiments. These are true experiments. Again, if you want to make experiments to see under microscope what is happening with the blood and the salt, then take your blood, check under microscope to see how much it clumped, what is the density of your blood. Then drink plasma, water with sea salt, a good amount, and after you urinate, it means the cycle was going through, take your blood again and examine it and see. You will notice that there is actually more separation between particles because you are hydrating blood. You are adding plasma into it, and energy will flow better because it calibrates it by itself. Body calibrates it. And as energy flows better, the cells are going to be exposed to better electromagnetic field, and since they are all positive, their magnetic field is going to strengthen, and they will start repelling more, and they start moving away from each other. And you will see very fluent, no clumps whatsoever. This is how you make experiment. You want to see what happens in the body? Make experiment in the body, not outside of the body. Allow body to do its job. And yes, if you take distilled water, you are going to also thinning the blood a little bit, but very shortly, because body is going to take out all the water that it cannot properly bond to minerals, and it will actually dehydrate you. So you will not really see the dehydration on the blood itself unless it is more severe and it starts clumping, because it becomes toxic. Toxicity impedes the flow of energy. So again, you want to know what happens in the body, you make experiment in the body, not outside of the body. Huh? Blood flows in the body constantly. You take it out, it coagulates. Obviously, it's not proper environment. So any experiment made outside of the body is worthless. It's lunacy. Okay? It's not an experiment. It's a joke. Okay, my friends, thank you for listening. God bless us all. Love you very much. Till next time. Namaste.